As an introvert, what irritates you the most? People thinking that introvert means disliking people. I love people. I love learning about people. But when I want space to recharge, that's it. It's nothing personal. Fucking this. I don't mind being around huge groups of friends. I'll probably have a blast. But I'm not game for that 24/7. If we're on a camping trip and they fuck off to go read a book for a couple hours, let me fuck off to read my book. Sometimes I just need peace and quiet. When people don't understand recharge time is a real thing, my dad, sister, and I are total introverts. When we have big family parties, we usually slip out quietly to go recharge for a second in solitude. Always end up finding each other in an empty room and laugh at ourselves for doing the same thing. Things like very persistent "oh, come on, stay with us. If I'm going, I have a reason. I had a good fun." I start to be exhausted, so I see myself out to leave with positive memories. Don't make me feel bad for it. When people think that just because I'm an introvert, I don't like being around lots of people and hanging out a lot. Only different between me and my extroverted friends is that I can only recharge my metaphorical batteries alone or with like a single really good friend. Always being pushed to go out and be social. Online dating. Loud talkers who never shut up, plus people who just don't shut up. Awkward silences. I tend to like people who talk a lot around me in social situations because it takes all of the pressure off for me to actually contribute to the conversation. Plus it usually eliminates awkward silences altogether. Small talk. I can't do it. I don't know what to say, especially when I'm talking to a stranger. I work retail, so sometimes I get those really chatty customers. Same. I'd rather sit silent than talk about the weather or explain how did my weekend go. I'd actually love to just enjoy the silence sometime, but people too often feel pressured to keep a conversation going. Thwarted expectations for time alone. We're planning to go out, spend time together, no problem. I'll rest up for it. But you let me think I've got a night/day/weekend to myself, or our thing will be over at 7 and now it's 9:30 with no sign of ending soon. I'm going to be irritated as fuck. I didn't budget energy for this. So much this, but also the inverse. When they assume that a specific day, or the afternoon is an adequate range time, and then if they show up at the later end of that time block, I've spent all the time before that unable to do anything or even relax because I've been ready for them. If I say I can do any time, it means I can plan my day around whatever time you pick. It doesn't mean you don't have to give me notice. The assumption that some things are fun for everyone. Please, let me enjoy my book while listening to the birds in my backyard instead of spending the evening standing next to sweating people in an area that feels way too small for me to be there. I understand some people love going out. Why is it always assumed that everyone does though? When you tell them you are trying to do something, like read, write, listen to music, or say you are doing something that I think that obviously needs focus, and they just keep talking like you've said nothing at all, it's like they don't know what silence is, or even just a little bit of patience. Let me finish writing this note to myself, then we can chat. My extrovert friend always used to try to get me to go to bars and dance or sing in front of everyone or whatever, telling me I need to step out of my comfort zone. He tried putting all the attention on me once at a party and I felt so embarrassed. Quit making introverts feel bad for stuff they just do not want to do. I think when some very extroverted people think they need to put you on the spot and push you out of your comfort zone for your benefit and they don't get how much you don't want it, like try to force public attention on you, try to force you to make a speech, try to push you to dance, insist you go introduce yourself to people you don't know for whatever reasons, etc. I don't care for clubs. Yes, I'm bored. I told you I hate clubs. I hate dancing. No, I won't dance. You cannot comprehend how much I hate to dance. Fuck all. I'm going to the quiet bar across the street to watch the football game I was planning to watch tonight at home. I've been to a couple parties and honestly I can think of so many things I'd rather do, especially when it turns to shit as parties and drinking usually does. People have wanted to fight me just because I don't engage with them or walk away, because they can't understand that someone doesn't find their bullshit amusing. That I have to act like a different person every day to be able to afford living in this society. I mean, it's not hard to be nice or respectful, but I hate unnecessary social interactions like small talk. They are so draining, and at the end of the day I'm always so tired that I get nothing else done, so I'm always trying to do things at the weekend. But I'm really angry about that, especially when I hear how some of my coworkers met their friends or get shit done during the week. It's unfair that introverts lose 5 days a week because of such stupid conversations. Also that people like me. I know this sounds like a stupid problem to have, but it gets annoying when every single person wants to have a special friendship with you where you share everything with them. The worst is that this starts just because I'm respectful. Sometimes I question other people's social skills. I mean, I'm an introvert. So how is it possible that most people are so awful at social interactions that other people think me being respectful is such a special trait that they want to be my best friends? Crazy world, seriously. You'd think extroverts are the experts at communication. Open plan offices, just let me do my work. I don't want to have to feel on constantly. Do the high head nod every time someone walks past me. Have my focus broken by having a chat every time someone feels like wandering over. By the end of the day I'm drained and upset. Why are you so quiet? Or why don't you say something? Fuck off. I got work to do. I enjoy one-on-one conversations, but not really participating while in large groups. I will just sit back and listen when in large groups, or will have a one-on-one with the person next to me. My answer to the first two questions is usually, I don't plan my murders out loud. That gets a good laugh, but also makes them shut up and stop bothering me. People who often tell me that I need to go out more and hang out with people, mainly my extrovert brother. First off, I like to go out on my own terms. Second, I may not have the time, mainly due to the fact that I have other obligations that I need to fulfill outside of my hobbies. School does that to you. Third, I get way too damn tired after being in a social gathering far longer than needed. And I don't want to be that guy who is dragging down the mood with my exhausted state. You can't even survive, forget growing in your career without so-called networking. No matter how top of the game you are in knowledge and skills. I'm in scientific research. It sounds harmless when people tell you need to have a big network of colleagues to get a good job. Does my research papers in high-impact journals mean nothing? Answer is not, without friends who lobby for your job. People conflating introversion and social anxiety, and people with social anxiety issues characterizing themselves as introverts. To be clear, you absolutely are not. No, people don't make me remotely anxious. I spend literally all day talking to people, and putting on a sociable, charming face, for work. It's just that talking to you, spending time with you, does not fill me with any positive motivation at all. It does not spark joy. I might like you, I might admire you, and I might recognize that you like and would like to spend time with me, but I'd rather be alone. I wish you all the best, but it really is that simple. Secondarily, I'm not arrogant or full of myself either. Yes, I already know I'm not very impressive. I'm just not trying to impress you, nor, as a child or young adult, was I rebellious or disrespectful. Please stop thinking I'm being performative. That's something you do. not something I do. People keep taking so much of this shit the wrong way. I'm literally just trying to get through my fucking day. I'm not antisocial, I just have about 3-4 hours of socialization in me, then it becomes a chore. Coincidentally, I've been a lot more social since the lockdown and feel like I can talk to anyone about anything happily. The more isolated everyone is, the happier I become. I'm not wishing isolation on people who can't handle it, but it's nice to have society like this because it feels like I can enjoy myself. And that extroverts know how I feel when they want me to be present 24/7. Whenever someone mentions something about me that I have never directly mentioned to them, for example if someone walked up to me and said, "Oh hey, John told me about X," or "Jane told me you really like Y," there's just a weird feeling that comes with knowing that people have talked behind my back. It makes me feel very socially uncomfortable. People do not have a sense of time or of a particular situation. Night 1 a.m., perfect time to paint a house. Night 2 a.m., perfect time to honk to wake up at least 50 households. Night 3 a.m., perfect time talk loudly on the phone. I mean, how can you do this? It's not even about being an introvert. Even extroverts come home at night. How can you not understand this? Forcing me to laugh. I remember back in 2nd grade when the teacher tries to crack a joke to break me. She always does it every class. Everyone was in it. That includes the minor subject teachers. It's fucking irritating. They even called me a killjoy for not laughing. Like, WTF, can't you at least come up with a better joke that is not cringe? And even if it's cringe, I could still laugh. Depends on how the person delivers the joke. People who can't accept that I'm as happy to stay home with a movie as they are to go out clubbing. Me staying in isn't the sign of depression. It isn't the sign that something is deeply wrong with me. And there's some stuff where if you asked if I wanted to go out and do, I would, but I don't want to go spend an night with a bunch of sweaty, hormonal, drugged out people who think they can sing. I'm happy staying home watching a movie, thanks. My small burst of extroversion. I 100% regrets my bad decision of making plans with people. Example, you ask? I planned a Sunday booze brunch with almost complete strangers I met going out. I took the plunge and went, since I planned it, and had a terrible time. I just sat there while everyone got drunk. I don't even drink. As someone who used to be a big extrovert, just all of the fake talk, it infiltrates into every part of life, whether it be personal or business. Working in a business environment, I sincerely get tired of all of the sycophants who use flowery language to try to sell something. I'm a rational person by nature, so generally I just want the practical data that can be quantified. The insincerity of my whole industry has had a strong effect on the way I approach people in my personal life, unfortunately. If I'm knowledgeable about something, I like to make it known, especially if it makes me right. But as an introvert, I second-guess my knowledge so much that I just move on and hope someone else points it out, and then it sits in my brain for the rest of the day because I should have said something, but my social anxiety got the better of me. Anyone else? I understand that the world has to reopen after this pandemic. But I drove through my downtown area last night and the sidewalks were flooded with people, bars were vomiting patrons out the front, and the traffic was finger-flapping ridiculous. I'm not ready. I like my little bubble. I like my mask. I don't want to be around all these people making small talk about the past 2 years. A part of me will miss how quiet the world was because I finally felt more comfortable being introverted me. People who make last-minute invites and get mad that I can't go. I need time to mentally prep for social events, budget my time, and make adjustments to my own routine schedule. If you give me a few days' notice, I might be able to come, But you can't spring things on people at the last minute and expect them to drop everything for you. Even non-introverts, people have lives, jobs, families, obligations. I'm never really sure about the terminology of these things. I'm someone who likes to be by themselves most of the time, and doesn't really enjoy the company of people, let alone big groups of people. But I'm also someone who very easily speaks their minds and who loves confrontations and discussions. I'm just quiet when there's no need to be loud, but very loud when someone else instigates it. Usually when someone says something stupid and deserves to be put in its place. If that still counts as an introvert, then I hate stupid people. When people enters our personal space, when they forces us to join a conversation, when they assume we are rude when we don't want to talk with them and rather prefer be alone and do nothing, when we decline the invitation of going out just because we don't know other people there and it takes a great effort for us to be in public places and among strangers. I don't know if what I said makes any sense, but that's what I really feel. Maybe swaying a bit more towards terrifies rather than irritates here, but leaving me in a room with people I don't know. It could be leaving me to talk with your family members, or just asking me to wait for you at a pub, bar. That shit terrifies me, especially if it's somewhere I haven't been before. Also, on a side note, I get paranoid as hell when using the toilet at a close friend's house because they've got no lock on the toilet door and his mom walked in on me mid-poo once at like 2 a.m. That everyone thinks I'm depressed or that I don't have friends or whatever because I spend so much time alone. I'm 24 years old and my mom still tries to push me into doing shit. Like, don't you think if you did things you would like them? Like, no lady, I've not been doing things since I hit puberty. That's just how I am. It's not depression, even though I do have a bit of that too. I just enjoy relaxing by myself in my room, a little more than what seems like normal. I don't like to go out in my time off. If someone asks me to go to a bar, I decline because I'd much rather sit on my ass and play RuneScape on a day off. I'm an introvert who's also really bad at saying no to people. I hate it when someone signs me up to do something in front of other people, like, let's all go do stuff outside. And everyone's like, oh yeah, that sounds awesome, are you ready? My name, and I'm like, oh yay. Then I'm stuck uncomfortable with large group of people, just wanting to be home with my dogs, drinking myself into oblivion to cope with the pressure of all these people talking into my ear. Doesn't really irritate me, just something I'll never really understand. People who are older than, say, 25, and constantly propose going to nightclubs. I'd say even most non-introverts have gotten that shit out of their system and realized it's a terrible experience by then. No, let's not go for overpriced drinks, damage our ears, sweat our tits off bouncing up and down and resort to screaming into each other's ears in place of having a conversation. I don't know, I just don't get it. There's better ways to get drunk, better ways to have fun and better ways to get laid. People who use introvertedness as an excuse for being rude to people in everyday interactions. The guy who asked you about your movie preferences at the company lunch is not literally Hitler, and you won't lose your introvert card if you answer with more than a grumbled 2-word reply. People thinking that introvert equals shy and or socially inept. I'm neither of those things. So when I tell people I'm an introvert, almost 100% of people will say no you're not, as if being a sociable, chatty person while I'm at work or out with friends means I don't need to hole up alone afterwards to recharge. I once had one of my bosses tell me, at my performance appraisal, that he would give me a rating of 4, but isn't, and is giving me a rating of 3. Mainly because I don't seem to be talking to other colleagues and being chatty in general. I had to ask him how that has affected my performance or output, to which he said absolutely none whatsoever. If anything, I perform better than everyone else, but unfortunately others feel that I'm not approachable and hence he is forced to give me a lower rating. Well, fuck him. When Uber drivers or taxi drivers want to make conversation, like nope, I had a long day where I smiled and talked to people. I don't want to do this while I'm in this journey, all I want to do is enjoy silence. Also, I hate being rude, so I can't say that I don't want to speak. Grrrr parents for instilling respectful behaviors. Reasons why I always take bus or train since I can just be left to my own thoughts.